So Newcastle United manager Eddie Howe effectively saying that Anthony Gordon, Kieran Trippier and Bruno Guimaraes all fully committed to Newcastle. We didn't need much more convincing about Bruno because he was actually sat right next door to the manager in the plush new media suite here at Whitley Park, which is just across the way from Benton. The players getting ready for training behind those trees. Newcastle now up to speed with a fully operational media area, complete with microphones and Wi-Fi, so they've taken a big step in the right direction on that score. But Eddie Howe, moments before the press conference kicked off, William Masala's deal was confirmed, so he's in from Sheffield United, another signing for Newcastle. Eddie Howe believing that he brings in exactly the right type of competition and backup for Callum Wilson and Alexander Isak. You wouldn't be pressed on Mark Gahey's status, which is probably a good sign because it means that Newcastle are very much in talks with the agent and the player himself, as well as Crystal Palace, so that's probably a positive in my book. I mean, the fee obviously is something that could ultimately be the stumbling block, but for me I think it's something that's heading in the right direction. Let's hope it can come off and Newcastle can get the deal for the England centre-back done and dusted. But overall I thought it was a really bright display in the press conference from Eddie Howe. 2 games over the weekend against Girona and Brest in the Cellar Weekender. Still tickets available for that one, and Newcastle fans on time to get the first glimpse of the players after a few away games at Hull and 2 matches in Japan. Newcastle losing on Saturday, but I think that was down to the conditions. Personally, I think this will be a much more accurate assessment of where Newcastle are. So let's look for those 2 games, but a really positive press conference here today at Benton.
Well, it's been a really hectic day, and the Newcastle United beat. We've had the press conference this morning, which involved Bruno talking to the media about his future, and then Eddie Howe giving us the best update he could give us on transfers. The fact that William Masula signed pretty much just before Eddie Howe took his seat. That deal was confirmed, shows that there is plenty to talk about. He couldn't give us too much more on Mark Gahey, as we mentioned earlier, but that potentially isn't a bad thing because it means that the deal is pretty much still active. Now, looking back on the rest of the day, we then headed up to Newcastle City Centre to see the grand unveiling of the Stack, and what a facility it was. And we got to a little bit of a tour around the place, seeing all the different bars, seeing what was on offer. It was fantastic. It's a 3,000 person venue. It's going to be accessible for families. It's just a really big opportunity for the club, and I think while some people will still have their kind of favourite pubs to go to before games, I think this is going to be a real hit, and the challenge I guess will be to keep that going across the season. But look, felt like the organisers there believed that this was going to be something that's going to be there for the fans for a long time, so really good to be involved in that. We spoke to some of the figureheads at the club. Peter Silverstone was there. Brad Miller, the Chief Operating Officer, whose main role we're going to see more of in the next few weeks. He's going to be the guy who kind of makes the calls on what they do next with the stadium. We've got the feasibility report, of course. The result of that is it's coming soon, and basically what the Newcastle do with all that information that they got, I've had a lot of debates with people on the back of that. I'm going to put it out to the listeners on here, and basically you tell me on the comments bar, what would you do if Newcastle United turn around and say, we could move stadium, we can extend the stadium? What would you prefer? I really want to see your comments on that, so please stick them underneath on this video and let me know what you think, because that's what it's all about. Hasn't been too many comments on the last few videos, so let me know what you think of that. That would be really good, because Your opinion is valued as much as anyone else's. So please, please let me know what you think of what Newcastle should do next with the stadium. I know a lot of people will just want to stay at St James's Park, and I understand that. But I guess after that, you look at the options. Could Newcastle move to a bigger venue? It's a possibility. Other clubs have done it. Where does that then take you? Does it mean you can compete with the bigger clubs? I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. Personally, the dream ticket for me would be to extend St James's Park by another 20,000. We know that that probably can't happen. It doesn't look like it can happen. If they could do that, that would be the dream ticket. What's the ideal capacity for Newcastle? Not just at St James's Park. If they did move, we had this conversation on the table I was with the journalists. I suggested that 80,000 would be the most ideal sort of capacity for Newcastle. Some disagreed with that, saying that might not be full, because if you play a team in the League Cup or something like that, or one of the lower league, one of the teams in the bottom half of the table, that the tickets wouldn't be snapped up. But if you have a team on the pitch that people want to see, then I believe that it could be full, and that would be a nice problem to have, because there's so many people that I know want tickets, want season tickets, want to take their children, and at the minute they just can't do that. It's just this ballot system, which is so frustrating, because I know a lot of people who've applied for it, not got anywhere with it. I know people have been successful, but it's just that lottery, isn't it, of wanting to see your team, and a lot of people want to have a season ticket. Some people want the season tickets back, but ultimately I think we're going to find out more in the future. So for me, I wrote a piece on it before. 3 sort of big announcements. The roadmap at Newcastle United off the field. Today we saw the stack open. The next thing will be the feasibility study result, which is going to probably see Brad Miller say more. And then the third thing is going to be the new club shop, which is opening soon. So that's they're 3 big things for Newcastle if they want to compete. We've got all PSR going on, all that sort of stuff. Newcastle needs to be a club flourishing with revenue, and they've got a big gap to close down. And I know Peter Silverstone's spoken about that quite a lot. So the stack, big positive. If you haven't been to have a look around, have a drink or a meal, whatever, there's loads of options, and I'm sure that, especially over the summer holidays, there's an opportunity for families to go up there and indulge in that. So definitely worth having a look at. I'm going to put some pictures on from my visit there today. They may have already flickered up on the screen while you've been watching this. But ultimately, a very busy day covering Newcastle. We've got the Cellar weekend coming up. That's all fine. That's going ahead. Girona up first on tomorrow night, and then after that it's a game against Brest. Also, AC Milan women against Newcastle women kicks off before, so a real opportunity to take in that game as well. So a big weekend ahead. Hopefully signing news to come. We'll bring you as much of that as we can, as quick as we can. Hopefully it's soon. But thanks for watching. I'm really enjoying your feedback on here when we get it. Few more comments on this one would not go amiss. As I say, stadium, give me your thoughts on it, and I look forward to the next video.